In the headlines, Ebonyi State Governor Umahi lauds Peter Obi's movement, insists Tinubu will win. 3 more Chibok girls rescued. And President Buhari approves federal government's takeover of Gombe Airport. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Hello and welcome once again. Governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi, has said despite the level of acceptability of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi, the flag bearer of the ruling All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will emerge victorious at next year's election. He said this while fielding questions from State House reporters after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, to invite him for the commissioning of the 1.2 billion naira Governor's Lodge at Asokoro, Abuja. The governor, who lost the APC presidential ticket in June, said the Southeast would have been forgotten if Peter Obi had decided not to participate in the current electioneering process. He expressed optimism that a candidate from the Southeast would eventually become president of Nigeria during the post-2023 elections.
You know, we don't have issues in APC like the kind of issues that are in other parties. They say in a big house, you know, there are a couple of things, you know, there are vessels unto another, vessels unto dishonor, literally meaning that, you know, there must be some issues in a big house like APC. But the structure and the spread of APC is such that, you know, victory is assured. And I can assure you that some of the disagreements in some states are going to be resolved. What happened during the primaries of PDP and APC, you know, were kind of miscalculation by our people. But to say whether they are ready for the presidency of the country anytime, I think that the movement of P2B is an eyes opener, and that's why I said I love what he's doing. I'm encouraged by what he's doing, because if it's not doing what it's doing, it means that Southeast would have been forgotten. So while my party takes the victory, he has prepared, you know, he would have prepared a very good ground for the Southeast presidency, so that nobody is going to write us off, and you can see the level of his acceptability, which does not translate to victory over APC. I'm sure of that. But it's a good movement.
The Speaker of the Ogun State House of Assembly, Olakule Oluomo, says he's maintaining his innocence in the recent Economic and Financial Crimes Commission charges against him and will want the court to decide. Oluomo, who spoke on the arrival at the Assembly complex in Ogun State, said the petitions written by the impeached former Deputy Speaker of the House, Dare Kadiri, were reflected in the charges. He said the charges 10 and 11 are for the 8th legislature before he became Speaker. Oluomo said he has always been disciplined and upright in his position, conduct and dealings with people. And to security matters now, where 3 more Chibok girls have been rescued. The Joint Military Task Force in the Northeast, Operation Hatinkai, in Borno State, said the girls were rescued with their children. General Officer Commanding 7th Division Major General Wahid Shaibu told newsmen at its Maimalari Cantonment headquarters in Maiduguri that sustained military operations, both kinetic and non-kinetic, paved way for most Boko Haram fighters to surrender, as well as create an opportunity for the girls to escape. The general gave the names of the 3 girls as Falmata Lawal, Asabe Ali and Jinkar Yerma. The GOC said all the girls have undergone medical examination and were treated alongside their children. Meanwhile, the Department of State Services, DSS, on a Thursday night arrested the father-in-law of the embattled bandits negotiator Tukur Mamu, Abdullahi Mashi, as part of his clampdown on associates of the publisher. Operatives of the secret police also visited the house of Mamu's brother-in-law, Ibrahim Tinja, who was arrested and deported with the Desert Herald publisher on Wednesday. Mamu and 4 members of his family were arrested at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport on Wednesday after they were deported from Egypt on the request of Nigeria's intelligence agencies. The publisher was said to be traveling to Saudi Arabia for Lesser Hajj, together with his 2 wives, his eldest son, Faisal Mamu, and brother-in-law, Ibrahim Tinja. Reports say while Mamu's wives have been released, the publisher, his son, and brother-in-law are still in custody. However, family of the embattled bandits negotiator on Friday said the military recruitments security agents found in the Desert Herald publisher's home belongs to his nephew, who is an officer of the Nigerian Navy. In a statement shared by the management of Desert Herald, the Kaduna-based newspaper owned by Mamu, the family said DSS cooked up phantom allegations in order to rope him. Senate President Ahmed Lawan on Friday reiterated the National Assembly's commitment to curb corruption and insecurity in the country through the enactment of enabling laws. Lawan made the pledge at the National Policy Dialogue on Corruption and Insecurity in Nigeria, organized by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offices Commission in Abuja. He said the National Assembly, in its efforts towards unmasking the perpetrators of insecurity in Nigeria, had realized the need to enact an anti-corruption law that would stop illicit financial flows, which could be channeled into funding insecurity in the country. The Senate President explained that the 8th Assembly had to this end pass the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit Bill. Lawan added that this was one of the major anti-corruption laws that saved the country from being expelled from the global body of the Egmont Group. And members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Nasarawa State University Wing, say they will not pull out of the ongoing national strike embarked upon by ASU until the lingering issues between the federal government and the union are resolved. Chairman of the branch, Samuel Alu, stated this in an exclusive interview with Trust TV in Kefi. The report.
There has been news making the rounds that some state universities may likely pull out of the ongoing national strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Recently, while briefing members of Executive Council, Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule said government has agreed to take over the salary payment of ASU members at State University, thereby meeting one of the key demands by a local chapter of the ASU, which might possibly make them to pull out of the national strike. But speaking to Trust TV, chairman of the Nasarawa State University wing of ASU, Samuel Alu, who acknowledged the commitment of state government to ASU members, explained that the strike is not local and cannot be suspended locally, as the chapter has already domesticated all resolutions taken at the National Executive Council meeting of ASU, including continuation of the strike.
Nasarawa State University branch is not on national strike because of the local issues. To also corroborate that, the gesture by His Excellency the Governor, and at the same time the visitor to this university, did not in any way solve the problem of UTAS and did not in any way solve the problem at hand at national, which is the renegotiation. So what he has succeeded in doing, which we are applauding, is that he has solved the impending local strike that was likely going to take place in Nasarawa State University immediately after the national strike is suspended.
While calling on the government to do the needful to enable members return to classrooms, the ASU chairman commended students for their patience despite the effects of the strike on them.
I want to commend the students, the Nigerian students, for being patient with ASU and for tolerating the kind of government we have in place. It's not easy for for those who are off campus, that tells you a lot of cost implication for renting a house and not even using up to 2 months of it in 12 months, and you are asked to renew. And for those who are at the verge of graduation, and for those who just came in, and for those who are in the middle, the yearning is there, the desire to progress in life is there.
Trust TV observed that during its visit to Nasarawa State University, Kefi, some non-academic staff were seen moving into their offices, while others were engaged in other activities.
Trust TV News Update. And still ahead on the news, we take a look at the effects of expired products on consumers. Details of this and more after the break. Please stay with us.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now let's recap our top stories. Ebonyi State Governor Umahi lauds Peter Obi's movement, insists Tinubu will win. And 3 more Chibok girls rescued. And moving on to other news now. Artisans and laborers in Zamfara State have decried low patronage as a result of the hard economic situation in the country. They said inflation is making life difficult as prices of raw materials skyrocketed, while patronage is low. The report.
Mechanics, welders and electricians who play a substantial role in everyday activities in communities are facing low or zero patronage. The sale prices of raw materials have now doubled, making it impossible for their customers to afford the current prices, which is affecting their jobs. Furthermore, banditry in Zamfara State has impacted adversely on every sector of the state's economy, which has increased in the level of poverty. This, they say, could be because people are being exploited to sell property to pay ransom to free family members in captivity. This development is creating untold hardship on residents, including artisans and laborers who work for other people to earn a living. Samuel Ezekiel is one of the mechanics in Gusau Metropolis. When Trust TV News visited his workshop, it was very quiet. Too quiet for a mechanic workshop. He was just sitting with other colleagues chatting while in away time. Ezekiel and his colleagues attributed the low patronage in their businesses to the survival instinct in man, prioritizing living. They said that some of their customers decided to park their cars at home due to lack of money, which is subsequently affecting them.
Actually, no work now like before. Everything will go down. Down. Really down. No movement, anything, no work. And our children, we don't have a to pay as the school fees myself. So in fact, nothing there for this again. I'm trying to say.
The situation of the country is going critically worst. We need somebody that will come and rescue this our nation, because the nation is falling every day. Life is not easy like before again, because things are going bad and worst. Because the situation now only God will rescue Nigeria, so everybody have to go back to God.
The chairman of Labourers, Mukhtar Abubakar in Gusau Metropolis, said everyone knows the current situation in the country. He said it is because of the situation they're demanding wage increase from 2,000 naira per ton for uploading to 3,000 naira to enable them cope with the current high cost of living in the country.
Everyone knows that the situation in the country is not easy. That is why, as laborers, we try to save a little from what we earn. Sometimes the money we earn all goes into buying foodstuff because prices have increased outrageously. With little money in circulation and increase in prices, daily survival for even our business is now very difficult. People do not have money presently. What we are buying 1,000 naira is now 2,000 naira. People are in a difficult situation. Before now, we had food and money to even assist others. Currently, we have become beggars as a result of the economic situation in the country. We have low patronage in our businesses. Spare parts that we once bought at 1,000 naira are now 5,000 naira. Because of the rising inflation in the country, if everyone contacts me to render a service, I now charge according to the prevailing prices of things so that I can make a little profit from the transaction.
For these artisans and laborers, the current economic hardship is beyond them. They, however, pray for high-power intervention, but for now, it is the survival of the fittest.
Expired products have a negative effect on the well-being of consumers, as evidenced in the spike of renal diseases in recent times. Obviously, there is an urgent need to address the menace of unapproved and unsafe production. In this report, Trust TV's Aisha Salihu examines the role of regulators and traders in curbing the menace.
Consumption of expired food items, according to experts, have negative impact on health and wellness of the consumers. These can lead to a number of health challenges that may ultimately require hospitalization. Hence, ensuring that a proper check is done on every product to ascertain its validity for usage through the information of best before date or expiry date displayed on the package is pertinent. For traders who experience the repackaging of expired products by manufacturers or may have had to deal with purchasing these substandard products ignorantly over time, they say it's bound on them to dispose of upon discovery instead of putting prospective customers at harm's way.
Immediately I find out that this almost expired, I share it out. I dash it out because I don't want a situation whereby somebody will buy a goods and find out that it's expired to return it back. I don't like such. I don't sell it out and I don't return it back because I know returning it back they are losing. So I prefer for me to lose.
I will ask the person why they are selling market before I buy. This thing you need to expire, I you don't expire. May you tell me the truth. If the thing expire, I not go buy. I can check it by myself before I buy. I will carry and come my shop to sell for my FIFO.
Although the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission said its memorandum of understanding with other sector regulators like Standard Organization of Nigeria and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration Control gives them the right to continue to work towards achieving total eradication of the menace, they are calling on members of the public to report such cases adding that customer education is paramount.
Products have best before dates. They have their expiry dates that are usually displayed. Most people don't look at the things before they buy products, and we encourage them. It's part of our consumer education and awareness that we do. The responsibility of the supplier to make sure that this information data is given on all purchased products so that the buyer is informed and makes an informed decision. And we go on inspections to supermarkets, to markets, open markets, and find out. Whenever we find that things, we will seize them. We seize them and bring them back to us here. We look at them, we find out, work together, of course, with NAFDAC and so on, find out if they have really gone against the law, and we go ahead and prosecute.
The FCCPC said there are a number of suspected cases of repackaging of expired food items under investigation and others awaiting court verdicts. The agency then called on the public to support the fight against such unwholesome activities that are detrimental to the health of people. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the takeover of the Gombe State Airport by the federal government. Governor Inoue Haya announced this on Friday while briefing State House reporters after a meeting with the President at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He said the move will ensure the availability of funds to maintain the facility throughout the lifespan of its operations. The officials of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority had in June inspected facilities at the Gombe International Airport and certified it for the airlift of Muslim pilgrims in the state to Saudi Arabia. On why he was in the villa, Governor Yahaya said he was paying the President a thank you visit for various significant projects approved by the federal government.
And thank Mr. President for several interventions that Gombe State received, especially of recent. The most important development is the takeover of the Gombe Airport by the federal government, which Mr. President has approved. Already, the Nigerian Air Force is building an Air Force base in the airport premises, and with the takeover, it means there will be more facilities and the management, especially since the airports are under the exclusive list of the Constitution. It will mean there will be more resources and there will be more proper management, and we shall see to that the fact that it is expanded so that economic activity will be enhanced because of the presence of the airport, if it has other facilities that will enhance business activities around.
And following the death of the British monarch Queen Elizabeth II, British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Catriona Lang, says that a condolence book will be opened at the High Commission from September 12th. Lang made this known on her official Twitter handle on Friday, while dropping an online link for those who wish to express their condolence online. According to the tweet, a condolence book at the Abuja High Commission office will be opened from the 12th to 16th September and on the 19th of September from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. each day, while a condolence book in Lagos will be available on invitation only. The British national flag was flown at half-mast on Friday at the British High Commission in Abuja. This comes as a sign of respect for Queen Elizabeth II, a day after the world's longest-serving monarch died at her Scottish home at age 96. And on the foreign scene, Charles III has been proclaimed as king at a ceremony at St. James's Palace. Charles became king immediately following the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, but a historic meeting formally confirmed his role on Saturday. During the Ascension Council, the king approved the day of the Queen's funeral becoming a bank holiday, although it is not known when it will take place. It is the first time the historic ceremony has been televised. The king himself was not present to begin with, but he attended the second part of the ceremony to hold his first meeting of the Privy Council, the group of senior politicians who advised the monarch. The packed room, attended by senior politicians, judges and officials who gathered in the state apartments of the palace in London, repeated back the phrase. The ceremony was attended by 200 members of the Privy Council, including former Prime Ministers Boris Johnson, Theresa May, David Cameron, Gordon Brown, Tony Blair and John Major. It was the decision of King Charles III to allow television cameras into the Ascension Council for the first time to allow the public to view proceedings. Meanwhile, the EU has decided that Russians seeking to enter the European Union will face longer and stricter procedures starting from Monday, scrapping a 14-year-long deal between Russia and the bloc. 27-country bloc adopted a decision that fully suspends the visa facilitation agreement between the EU and Russia, which is in place since 2007. Suspending the deal means that visa application fees will now increase from 35 to 80 euros. And it also means applicants will need to present additional documents, and the issuing process will be longer and more restrictive. The Commission is expected to present additional guidelines to make sure the suspension does not affect those travelling to the EU for essential purposes, including journalists, dissidents and civil society representatives. And in sports, Nigeria's under-19 team confirmed their superiority over Cameroon as they defeated them again at the ongoing under-19 Africa Men's Volleyball Championship on Thursday at El Jadida Stadium, Morocco. Both teams clashed in the group stage of the competition, with Nigeria claiming an outright victory. The Cameroonians dominated the first set to secure a 25-18 win, while Nigeria controlled the second set with a 25-21 win. In the third set, Nigeria won 28-26 and further moved ahead to win the fourth set 25-16. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. For more news, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for watching.